The happiness can be two types. One is the temporal happiness. One is lasting happiness. All the all the positive actions can give only the temporal happiness. They cannot produce the lasting happiness. The lasting happiness we can achieve only through practice of bodhicitta and the wisdom which realizes emptiness. Therefore, wish to be Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And today we're going to study Lamrim. Actually, we should not have two separate times. Time for studying, time for practicing. When we study, we must practice. Whatever we practice through study. So we should not have two separate times. Therefore, many people think, oh, right now, this day, I must study. So when I have a free time, when I have a good understanding of Dharma, then I will practice the Dharma. There's not such a thing we can have because we never know how long we can survive. Therefore, so whatever we study, we must practice. We should not think, I will practice next year after, when I have a free time. And also we should not think I will practice tomorrow. We should think I will practice the Dharma now because the life is very uncertainty. Among the practices, so there are so many, practices. Practice of great compassion, renunciation, bodhicitta, 5 perfections. All those practices you can reach to only the accumulation state, the accumulation path. Doesn't matter how long, how much you study these practices, you can reach only the accumulation paths. Without realizing emptiness, without practice emptiness, we never achieve, the second path, which is the preparation path. Therefore, it is very, very important to realize emptiness and practice emptiness for many years. Then, second, we can reach to the second path, which is preparation path. Again, when our mind transform from preparation paths to the seeing paths, again, emptiness is very important. From the seeing paths to the meditation paths, also mostly practice of emptiness. Then from the meditation paths transform into no more learning path. Also, meditation on emptiness is very important. Therefore, somehow we need to know, the meaning of emptiness. Not just knowing, we really try to realize emptiness. Until now, we are in samsara, because we haven't realized emptiness. Buddha Shakyamuni, Manjushri Buddha, all the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas, who reach to the seeing paths, they reach to the seeing paths, they achieve Buddhahood because they fully, completely realize emptiness. When they realize emptiness, then they realize the ignorant is the mistaken mind. So we have to follow the same paths, which is all the Buddhas, already achieved through the paths. Therefore, this day we are having class about emptiness. So I do once more the revision class, revision about emptiness. So this is a very difficult subject, difficult topic. It doesn't mean it is impossible to know the emptiness. Therefore, I said many times, even though Lama Tsongkhapa, he was, facing great difficulties to realize emptiness. Then he got the instruction from the Manjushri Buddha. Manjushri Buddha says, you must do two practices together, which is practice for purification, practice for accumulation, or merit. Therefore, every day when we do, when we do the offering things, we just think, I'm doing this in order to purify all the negative karmas for realize emptiness. I'm doing this good action for accumulating merit to realize emptiness. Then, due to power of merit, due to the power of purification, then one day, definitely we will realize emptiness. And also we have a bad tendency, we have a bad, habits. Many Buddhist people think, I cannot accomplish bodhicitta this life. I cannot realize emptiness this life. But I wish, I will leave a lot of mental imprint for future lifetime, then I will realize emptiness. We should not think this way. We should think, I will realize emptiness this life, this year. I will accomplish bodhicitta this life and this year. We should not think, I will achieve Buddhahood, I will achieve bodhicitta, I will realize emptiness for, in the next life. We never know next life where we go. Okay, so revision again, beginning chapter 17. The actual identification of the object to be negated. So in general, so I will read very slowly. In general, with regard to object of negation, they are object negated by the path and object negated by reason. Right? At the beginning must be very clear. There are objects negated by the path and the objects negated by reason. As to the first of these, Mitriya, they are teaching on affective obscuration and on cognitive obscurations. There are two types of obscurations, affective and cognitive obscurations. Thus, there are affective obscuration and cognitive obscuration. This object of negation do occur among object of knowledge. That means the two obscurations are the negated by the path. Right? They are the object negated by a path. So what are the object by negated by the path? The two obscurations, Those are the negation negated by path, right? Paths. So when you only practice renunciation and emptiness, you can negate it. No, you can eliminate the afflictive occupation, not the cognitive occupation. Clear? With the bodhicitta, renunciation, emptiness, with the bodhicitta, if you practice three together, then you can negate, you can eliminate the, which one? Cognitive obscurations. So this, therefore, the negation negated by the path is occur, right? Occur among the object of no, those are exists. Then, if they do not exist, then all embodied being would escape self-existence without exertion. As for object negated by reason, right? As for objects negated by reason, someone think that as an emitted woman as a woman, another emanation stop the wrong conception. This is like that. There's a quotation. Comment is by is Nagarjuna, then commentary. So there's a analogy, right? A woman emitted by some being is empty of the nature of being a woman, but someone else wrongly think this is ultimately a woman. So this is emanated woman, but due to some reason they thought this is a real woman. Therefore, due to the wrong conception, attachment arises. Then the Tathagata or Charvaka Buddha, Tathagata emanates another emanation and thereby stop the person's wrong conception. Similarly, my words, the Buddha said, my words. Which words? Which words? Which are empty, like a emanation. Stop any apprehension that anything exists intrinsically. Now, the woman is the not real woman. All phenomena exist, but those are not exist intrinsically. Right? All things like the emanated woman are empty and do not intrinsically exist. Therefore, intrinsically, inherently existent phenomena are object negated by reason. Clear? What are the negation negated by reason? The thing which is exists intrinsically, inherently, independently. Those are the negation negated by reason. Therefore, look at thus. He speaks of misconception as object of negation. Number one, this is the negation negated by path. Thus, he speaks of misconception as object of negation. The misconception can be the two kinds of, right? And he also treats the intrinsic nature that they apprehend as an object of negation, making two kinds of object to be negated. This means, number one, the misconception is the object of negation, right? Which is negated by path. Misconception means ignorance, that ignorance. Misconception is as an object of negation, negated by path. Clear? Negated path. This is existent phenomena. The second is also teach the intrinsic nature. Intrinsic nature is the negation, negated by reason. Clear? Look at the intrinsic nature is the negation negated by reason. Therefore, look here, intrinsic nature that they apprehend as an object of negation. Apprehend by which mind? Apprehend by ignorance. That means ignorance is a mind. The ignorant perceive the intrinsic nature, right? Intrinsic nature. Therefore, the intrinsic nature is the object of negation negated by reason. The intrinsic nature is the apprehend as an object of negation, making two kinds of objects to be negated. How many objects to be negated? Two. What are they? The object negated by path, the object negated by reason. What is the object? Object negated by path. Yeah, misperception or cognitive or this so and so. What is the object negated by reason? The intrinsic nature. Now you have to be very clear, huh? The ignorance is negated by path, right? Path. So when you practice path, then you can negate, you can eliminate the ignorance. Therefore, ignorance, misconception are the negation negated by path, ignorance. So, what is the object of ignorance? The intrinsic nature, right? The intrinsic nature is object of ignorance. I hope that you remember, when you wear the blue glass, look at the snow mountain, you can see the snow mountain as a look like blue. However, the primary object of negation, we have two kinds of negation. The primary object of negation is the primary object of negation is the latter one. Latter means the second one. Which one second? Intrinsic nature, right? The intrinsic nature is the primary negation. Primary object of negation is the latter. 4. Now very important here. 4. In order to stop, arise the ignorance or inaccurate consciousness. Inaccurate consciousness refer to ignorance. Please keep in your mind. In order to stop an inaccurate consciousness, you must first refute the object. Object, right? So now you think, in the surface level, all the afflictive emotion is arising, attachment, anger arising. In the deep level, everything arises by ignorance. So in order to stop, first thing, anger, attachment, we need to stop ignorance. Or, the inaccurate consciousness. How we can stop the ignorance? You must stop fast. You must first refute the object. Object. Which object? That consciousness apprehends. Therefore, we need to stop unaccurate consciousness. We need to stop ignorance. Therefore, you must refute the object. Which object? Which the consciousness apprehend. That means we need to stop ignorance. Therefore, first we refute the intrinsic existence, intrinsic nature. Because the intrinsic nature is the object of ignorance. The intrinsic nature is the apprehend by ignorance. Quite clear? Okay. First, ignorance, we need to stop ignorance. Clear? Clear. We need to stop ignorance. How we can stop ignorance? For you must first refute the object. What kind of object we are talking? The intrinsic nature. This is the object. Which is, this is the object that consciousness apprehends. Okay? That means ignorance is the consciousness. It has a object. What is the object of ignorance? The intrinsic nature. Therefore, we must refute. We must refute the intrinsic nature. Why we need to refute the intrinsic nature? Because the ignorance apprehend the intrinsic nature. Right? Then we talk about the ignorant. You talk about the object of ignorance. And also is talk about how we can stop ignorance. We can stop ignorance when we refute the object, which is the consciousness apprehends. Quite okay? Okay? For example, let's say, when you look at the snow mountain, due to some reason, you saw the snow mountain is as a yellow. So that means you have a mistaken mind. That means eye consciousness look like ignorance. The eye consciousness apprehend snow mountain, but not white snow mountain. Apprehend the yellow snow mountain. Therefore, first you need to prove, you need to refute there is not such as yellow snow mountain. Then you realize, oh, I saw my eyes consciousness perceive the yellow snow mountain. Actually, I am mistaken. Right? Mistaken. For instance, so how we can refute the intrinsic nature? For instance, dependent arising refute the essential or intrinsic existence of person and phenomena. Okay. Therefore, intrinsic person, intrinsic existent person, essential person, intrinsic existent phenomena, essential phenomena are the object of ignorance. So we have to refute. We can refute through dependent arising. Okay, next, this latter object of negation, this is my third time, I am repeating again. The latter object of negation cannot be among object of knowledge because which one? The latter object? Intrinsic nature. Now look at intrinsic nature, object of ignorance is same. Object of ignorance. Clear? Same. Therefore, the intrinsic nature, the latter object of negation cannot be of knowledge because right, the intrinsic existence, the intrinsic nature did exist, then it cannot be refuted. We cannot refute it is there. Therefore, the intrinsic existence, essential existence are no more existent phenomena. Then why we need to refute? Why we need to refute? Look, still there are mistaking supreme imposition that apprehend it as existing. So you must refute. Now, the existent nature is no existent phenomena, right? No existent. No existent. But we need to refute. We need to refute. Why? Why we need to refute? Still, there are mistaken superimposition that apprehend it as existent. Therefore, the intrinsic existent phenomena is no existent, but we have to refute because the ignorance apprehend the existent intrinsic existence. How? Now, again, the best is the snow mountain. So when you perceive the snow mountain as a yellow, in the reality, is there a yellow snow mountain? No. So does yellow snow mountain come from where? Actually, there's no yellow snow mountain. Yellow snow mountain is always white. But somehow you perceive the yellow snow mountain because you have a mistaken mind. So the mistaken mind impose snow mountain is look like as a yellow. All phenomena not exist intrinsically, but for us, everything perceived as an intrinsic existence. This kind of intrinsic existence, the concept come from where? Come from ignorance. The ignorance impose, things exist as an intrinsic existence. Therefore, we need to refute the intrinsic existence. Still, there are mistaken superimposition. They apprehend it as existence, so you must refute it. Then the refutation is not like, please read, with a hammer, right? We cannot really refute the existence, intrinsic existence. We cannot refute as a destroying the pot with a hammer. Rather, it's a matter of developing certain knowledge that recognize the non-existent as a non-existent. So how we can refute? So we need to develop certain knowledge. We need to develop our idea. We need to develop our mind that recognize as a non-existent. When you develop certain knowledge that does not exist, that means for us, right now, all phenomena exist as a intrinsic existence. We have to refute how you need to develop certain knowledge, then the knowledge can recognize things are non-existent as a non-existent. Then you can realize, the intrinsic existence do not exist. Then the mistaken consciousness, the comprehend is a existence will stop. When you develop the certain knowledge, that is, it refer to what? That it, intrinsic existence. Therefore, when you develop the certain knowledge, the knowledge that it does not exist, then the mistaken consciousness that apprehend is existing will stop. So this, paragraph mainly talk about how we can stop the ignorance. Is mainly refutation. Similarly, establishment. Similarly, using reason to establish something is not a matter of the newly establishing the something that did not exist before, like a seed producing a seedling. Rather, it is a development of certain knowledge that recognize as phenomena as it is. That means, in order to refute, you need to develop certain knowledge. The knowledge must recognize non-existent as a non-existent. Right? Also, we need to establish how things are exist. Again, we need to develop certain knowledge. Then the knowledge can recognize as it is. It is. Right? So, please, this kind of, the topic is very difficult. When you read again and again, then I think for you much easier to understand how we can refute the object of negation, how we can establish the emptiness, how we can establish all phenomena. Right? So we have to refute, at the same time, we have to establish. Mm-hmm.
So when we use the dependent origination understanding, is that by negation, by reason, or by path? When we apply dependent origination,
Mm-hmm.
is that negation by reasoning, or is it by path?
No. When we apply the dependent arising as is a methods. Is methods to refute the negation which is not exist. Dependent arising is not the negation.
Is to refute.
Through dependent arising, we refute the negation which is not existent.
The negation of independent existence?
General phenomena. Okay, there's two types of negation. The dependent arising applied to negate the second negation. The second one, which is intrinsic existence. Therefore, look, he's saying here, instance somewhere.
It says dependent arising refutes the essential or intrinsic existence of persons and phenomena.
Yeah. That means we need to we apply the dependent arising, then we refute. We can refute two types of the negation. Negation on the person, negation on the phenomena. What is the negation, negation on the person, negation on the phenomena? That means the person exists as an intrinsic existence is the negation on the person. And the phenomena exists as an intrinsic existence is the negation on the phenomena. So the dependent arising refute both of them. Yeah.
That is stated in the three principles and the aspect of the path, right?
Yeah. Then page number 205. The 205 whole, the half page is saying all the negation, the refutation or establishment both depend on reasoning and logics. Cannot be refuted just by words. Cannot be established just by the words. Everything depends on logic and reasoning. Now, page number 206. Make sure first we talk about two kinds of negation. One negated by a path, second is negated by reasoning. The negation which is negated by path are existent phenomena. For example, two kinds of obscurations. For example, ignorance. Those are the negation negated by path. Second is intrinsic nature, essential nature, independent phenomena are the negation negated by reasoning. So, why we need to refute ignorance? Because ignorance is the root to arise all the negative thoughts. Therefore, we need to refute, we need to stop ignorance. Right? Then, how we can stop ignorance? In order to stop ignorance, you must refute the object of ignorance, which is intrinsic existence. So when you refute the object of ignorance, then you can stop ignorance. How we can refute the object of ignorance? Through reasoning. For example, dependent arising. Also, we have to develop, certain knowledge. Then the knowledge, the mind can recognize the non-existent as a non-existent. And also, other hand, we need to establish emptiness. Emptiness we must establish through develop the knowledge. The knowledge can recognize phenomena as it is. Therefore, the refutation, establishment, both very much depend on logic and reasoning, not merely words. Then next, 206. We carry out refutation with excellent reasoning so as to stop inaccurate mistaken consciousness. Right? That means the excellent reasoning refute what? Intrinsic existence, in order to stop the inaccurate and mistaken consciousness. We carry out refutation with the excellent reasoning so as to stop inaccurate mistaken conception, which is ignorance again. Also, proof, establishment of proof. A proof by reasoning as is technique. Technique for what? Accurate and certain knowledge. Right? That means refutation, establishment. Therefore, those who wish to stop the virus inaccurate awareness or inaccurate consciousness, same meaning. Inaccurate awareness and to develop the various accurate awareness, that means the wisdom, should pursue the collection of argument by the author such as Nagarjuna, and should develop mind, they have accurate and certain knowledge of the refutation and proof. Right? This talk about the refutation, that we must refute the intrinsic existence with the excellent reasoning. For what reason? To stop inaccurate and mistaken consciousness. Right? Then also we must prove, all phenomena nature is emptiness. Proof by reasoning is a technique for develop accurate and certain knowledge, which is the knowledge, the mind which realize emptiness. Therefore, those who wish to stop the various inaccurate awareness, develop the various accurate awareness, should pursue. That means you need to know, all the logics and reasoning taught by Nagarjuna. Right? Now there's just a question. If, as you say, a refutation by means of reasoning is done in order to develop accurate certain knowledge by what? Process. Right? Now, refutation by means of reasoning is done. Done for what? In order to develop accurate certain knowledge by eradicating accurate cognitive process. Then reason will cancel out an object as apprehended by certain kinds of mind. That means, look at now. So in order to have, very accurate knowledge, you need to eradicate inaccurate cognitive process. That means, in order to have the mind which is realize emptiness, first you need to eradicate the inaccurate cognitive process. Then the reason will cancel. Cancel means, now look at, it's quite confusion, the word is cancel. Ignorance apprehend what? Very good. Ignorant apprehend the intrinsic nature or essential nature. That means ignorance always perceive things as intrinsic existence. Right? That means the ignorance always whole. Things are intrinsic. Next, before we, the know, the ignorant is mistaken mind. First, you need to refute the refutation by means of reasoning is done in order to develop accurate certainty. Therefore, before we know ignorant is mistaken mind, first we need a mind which is very accurate about emptiness. Then, the accurate mind, when they cognize things are as it is, then automatically, the object of ignorance cancel. Mean no more there. It is apprehended by the certain kind of mind. What is that? Mind referred to here, ignorance. Reply. So everything you have to, go with your own experience. Reply. In general, there are limitless number of conceptual consciousness that apprehend the object of negation. Please read again. In general, negation. That means there are many conceptual consciousness which apprehend the object of negation, which apprehend the intrinsic existence. However, you should carefully identify the inaccurate conceptual consciousness that is the root of all faults and defects, and you should eradicate it different object. That means there are so many conceptual mind which apprehend the intrinsic existence, right? But you should carefully identify inaccurate conceptual consciousness. That means there are so many ignorance, many ignorance. So among the ignorance, you must carefully identify the ignorance which is root of all faults and defects, right? That means, let's say, there's a hundreds of like a robber, right? Who rob things, robber, 100 robbers. So if you fight with 100 robbers, you don't have energy, right? You cannot fight with all the 100, like thief. What should you do? You must fight with the boss, right? Doesn't matter, you just fight with the boss. If you're able to defeat the boss, the rest of it is okay. Same, there are so many ignorance. You cannot really, eliminate each of them one by one. Therefore, you should carefully identify the boss, right? Boss of the ignorance. You should carefully identify the inaccurate conceptual consciousness that is the root of all faults and defects. And you should eradicate its referent object. For if that is stopped, then all faults and defects will be stopped. So among the ignorance, which ignorance we must identify? Among the ignorance, which ignorance we must identify, which is the root of the faults and defects? No. Look, in general, there are limitless number of conceptual consciousness, not just consciousness, that apprehend the object of negation. That means there are so many ignorance. However, you should carefully identify the incorrect consciousness that is the root of all faults and defects, right? Yeah, because here, again, page number 204, we just received, right? For instance, dependent arising refutes essential or intrinsic existence of person and phenomena, right? So among the ignorance, you first identify essential or intrinsic existence of person and phenomena. That means the ignorance which is ignorant about the person, ignorance about the phenomena. So you have to, identify the incorrect consciousness that is the root of the, for example, we have ignorance about the, like pot, book. Those are the ignorance. But those are the not the ignorance which is arise all the faults. No. Right? For example, ignorant about the pot, ignorant about the book. Those are ignorance, but those are the not the ignorant which is root of all faults and defects. Therefore, ignorant about the person, ignorant about the phenomena are the root of the all faults and defects. So we need to identify, the two kinds of ignorance. Ignorance about the person, ignorance about the phenomena. Moreover, the remedies set for in the sutra, this sutra, I don't know, is kind of a bit extra words. Moreover, the remedies set for other afflictions, such as attachment, cure a portion of the afflictions, whereas the remedies set for the ignorance cure all afflictions. Therefore, ignorance is the basis for all faults and defects. Now next, please read the quotation. The teacher of Buddha. Look at now, each of the remedy, individual remedies, for example, attachment has its own remedy, anger has its own remedies. Those are individual remedies, right? Therefore, the most important, therefore, they are not broadly effective, and those scriptures are not great significant. Those said to extinguish delusion, overcome all afflictions. That means when you able to, develop the remedy for ignorance, then you already have the remedy for all the afflictive emotions, all the afflictives. When you reduce anger, attachment there. When you reduce attachment, anger is there. When you reduce pride, attachment is there. You cannot reduce everything. So when you reduce ignorance, you can reduce everything, right? So you must know the main point, right? So how come if I reduce, eradicate attachment, cannot anger. If I eradicate anger, cannot eradicate attachment. How come ignorance, when we reduce ignorance, everything reduce? Because everything is rooted by ignorance. Ignorance, right? Now, simply you should not think, oh, with me, I have a mind. That mind, everything is producing. You should not think this way. Again, remember the analogy about emanated, the woman, emanated. And also, we everybody in the theater, right? In the theater, the magician produce very beautiful object, looks very expensive. Then the magician said, I have this object is so expensive, one of the rare phenomena, one of the rare objects, is only one in the world. It's very expensive. Today I'm going to give you this one. Who going to win the, what do you call the? Lottery. The lottery costs only less $1,000. I'm magician. I sell the lottery, $100,000. Then I have a very beautiful object, looks really good in diamond, gold, very expensive, only $1,000, nothing. Will you buy the lottery? Any of you will buy the lottery? Why not? Yes, if you know at the beginning, oh, these are illusion, these are emanated by the, what do you call that, the magician, you won't buy. Even though I say $1, you won't buy lottery. Without notice, if they put some this phenomena, definitely everybody will buy. Now you can see different. Once you notice it is illusion, it is emanated, it is the kind of delusion, then you don't have a attachment, hold it. You don't have a desire to have it. Right? Same thing, all the attachment, desire, everything arises, we have, because we hold everything as an intrinsic existence. Right? Therefore, when we see beautiful object, we want. When we see ugly object, we don't want. Then we have a sense of hatred, sense of attachment, because we haven't realized the true nature of the phenomena. Therefore, ignorance is look like a magician. Ignorance is look like magician. He produced the intrinsic existence phenomena for us. Therefore, we have all the attachment, desire, anger. Once we realize, yes, everything not exists intrinsically, inherently, essentially, independently, then everything reduces. Because the ignorance is already reduced. Right? With the delusion here, what is this delusion like? Delusion means ignorance is look like. It is ignorance. It is an ignorance which in this context is awareness that mistakenly superimposes intrinsic nature. Now, you need to think three. One is the object. Second is ignorance. Third is kind of function of the ignorance. It's okay, no problem. It's okay. Clear? Ignorance, then object, and the function of the ignorance. Again, snow mountain, eyes consciousness, and the like a blue glass in between. So what is the ignorance? It is ignorance which in the context is awareness that mistakenly is awareness, aware correctly or incorrectly? Incorrectly, mistakenly what done? Superimposes intrinsic nature. Superimpose. Which we call Roda, right? Superimpose. Therefore, ignorance awareness. The function is impose intrinsic nature on the phenomena. It is apprehend internal and external phenomena as existing by way of their own intrinsic character. Now, this is the meaning of ignorance. You should think again simple way. I have a mind. The mind is awareness. The aware or perceive all phenomena as a intrinsic existence. This is the superimpose. Right? This means what is the ignorance? Again, it is ignorance, which in this context is awareness, that mistakenly, don't forget, mistakenly superimpose. Impose means add, right? Super add. What kind of adds? Nature. Right? That means, for example, is happen for us. For example, when we buy, thing. For example, you went to a shop to buy a phone. At the beginning, you want to buy the phone. You wasn't sure. You're not sure. You will buy or you won't buy. When you reach to the market, then the person who sell the thing, they give you a lot of instruction. Oh, this function, that function, this good, that good, lot of superimpose. Then you think, wow, it's really good. Then 100% you will buy. Right? Therefore, everything, simply is very, very simple. Look around us. Everything arises depend on causes and condition. Simply, everything arises, causes depend on causes and condition. Then, for us, why we have a so strong attachment towards someone, something? Why we have a so strong hatred towards someone, something? Why? When we have a lot of superimpose, then we have a attachment, desire, ego, pride. Right? When you reduce the the truth nature of the phenomenon. When you reduce, then you have a sense of hatred. For example, a person is neither your friend nor your enemy. You don't have a sense of hatred. And your friend become your enemy. Because that time also you superimpose or you minimize the quality. First you think my friend is good. When the good quality you minimize, is become bad. Then you don't like. Or someone is very, neither your friend nor your enemy, due to some reason you add the good quality. Then you think the person is really good, then become your friend, then you like. Right? That means, in the reality, everything arising depends on causes, condition. Everything changing momentarily. But we have a lot of misconception because of the superimposition. Or, super minimized kind of, what do you call, opposite of imposition? Subtraction, yes, super subtraction, superimpose. Is very good. Yeah, subtract, too much subtract, then nothing.
One is add and one is minus.
Yes, we minus too much, then we don't like. We add too much, we like. And also something we add too much or we don't like. For example, person is okay. When they say, oh, the person no good, he or she did this, we add lot of things. Also we have strong anger, right? So this kind of topic, we should not just read. We read with our own experience. Therefore, you can recognize the ignorance. Okay, then I ask you to do homework, right? Then page number 207 is mainly talking about the ignorance. More important one, from the 400 says, just as the tactile sensory faculty and pervades the body. Don't forget this one. Just as the tactile sensory faculty pervades the body, delusion lies within the all afflictions. Therefore, delusion, you will destroy all afflictions. Please don't forget this sentence, you must memorize. Now, after you study a bit, then you can realize, the tactile sensory faculty pervades the body. That means the body sensory, pervades all parts of body, right? Body. Same delusion lies. Delusion lies within the all affliction. Attachment arise, illusion is there. Anger arise, illusion is there. Pride arise, illusion is there. Without illusion, you cannot have an attachment. Right? When you really, subtract or minimize the illusion, desire, attachment definitely going to reduce, minimize. It look like, do you remember what you call the balloon? Balloon, when you fill the air, the gas, that you can see it's a very big, and all the beautiful, the design come out, right? When you release the air, then nothing. That means within the balloon there's a air. The air is look like ignorance. When the ignorance has gone, the balloon becomes very, very flat, very small. That means ignorance, when you realize ignorance, mistaken mind, then attachment, anger, everything become very small. No question here. If, as you says, ignorance is the root, right? Until now, Lama Tsongkhapa says, ignorance is the root of secular existence. Then it would be incorrect for Chandrakirti to explain in the commentary on the middle way and in the clear words that the view of praising aggregates as I and mine as the root of the secular existence. For there cannot be two primary causes of secular existence. Right? Until now, Lama Tsongkhapa says ignorance is the root. Then on the other hand, Chandrakirti said the view of praising aggregates is the root of the secular existence. There cannot be two primary causes of secular existence. Right? There's a question. Okay, have you done your homework? Huh? Because praising aggregates, I don't know in Sanskrit, what kind of word it has. In Tibetan, we have jikta. Ta means view. View. Right? View. That's why you can say view. The complete would be so jik so la tawa. Tawa means view. Then jik so, there are two words, right? Jik and chok. Jik is the pressing. Pressing. So means aggregates. 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 So when we say, when we say, I'm old, I am young, when we feel I'm young, I'm old, the I, right? When you say I am old, that moment there's a I. The I is old or young? Old. Especially I am old. I am old. There's a I. Right? I. The I is old or young? It is a old. The old, how can say the I is old? How we can say I am old, I am young, I am wealth, I am not wealth? It depends on the pressing aggregates, the physical body, right? Physical body. Pressing means is very fragile. Fejal, right? Fejal. That means when we say I mainly we designate it based on the physical body, right? Physical body. Just look at, I'm young, I'm old, I'm white, I'm black, I'm big, I'm small. Everything depends on the body, right? That means they call pressing aggregates, view. That means I depend on the physical body. The physical body is aggregates, also is a pressing. Pressing means disciplining, declining, changing, right? That means diminishing I and mind. Also second, first we have a concept of I, right? I. Second, then we have a concept of mind. Mind.
Sorry, Geshe Lama, mine is M-I-N-E or M-I-N-D?
M-I-N-E. Yeah. Mind. I and mind. So the I is the not, the root of the second existence. The mind is also not the root of the second existence. The conception which is perceived, it apprehend I as an intrinsic existence, mind as an intrinsic existence, then the conception become the root of the second existence, I and mind. So there's a question: which is the really root of existence? Ignorance or the view of pressing aggregates? Reply: in the section on the presence of mental capacity, I have already explained what other master says about how to assert ignorance and the view of pressing aggregates. Therefore, if you haven't finished, please read again, the book number 1. In the book number 1, what says? Ignorance is, so do you remember we have 2 kinds of obscuration? What are they? Afflictive obscuration and cognitive obscuration. According to other masters, please listen very carefully. According to other master, the ignorance is cognitive obscuration, not afflictive obscuration. According to Chandrakirti, Nagarjuna, the Pasangika, ignorance is afflictive obscuration, not the cognitive obscuration. Therefore, here look at, President, I have already explained what other master says about how to assert ignorance and the view of pressing aggregates. Therefore, here I will explain the assertion of the master Chandrakirti. Other Madhyamaka consider, even though we have 2 kinds of Madhyamaka school, right? What are they? Pasangika and Swatantika. Other Madhyamaka consider the conception, again ignorance, conception of the thing as a truly existent as to be cognitive obscuration. He asserted that such a conception is ignorance, and what is more, he asserted that it is afflictive ignorance. Right? According to Chandrakirti, Nagarjuna, ignorance is the afflictive ignorance, so not the cognitive obscuration. Because, there's a reason here, because this cause, this what? The ignorance. Because this ignorance causes living beings to be confused in their view of the actual state of things
actual state of thing. It is the delusions ignorant mistakenly superimpose upon the thing as essence that they do not have. It is constitute, so is block perception of their nature. It is consular. This sentence, first sentence talk about ignorance is the cause. Causes living being to be confused in their view of the actual state of things. So let's say we cannot see the actual state of the thing, right? Can we see or cannot? Can we see actual state of the thing? No, we cannot. We cannot see. We have a confusion about actual state of the thing. How we have a confusion? The confusion caused by ignorance. It is delusion. Ignorant mistakenly superimpose upon the thing as essence that they do not have. Right? That means ignorance, superimpose, actual state of thing. So what is the actual state of the thing? What's the reality of the all phenomena? Lack of intrinsic existence, lack of essential existence, lack of independent existence. The actual state of things are like that, but for us, everything has a intrinsic existence because caused by ignorance. The actual state of things are not intrinsically existent. Therefore, they do not have. So you talk about ignorance, how the cause to confuse, how things are exist, how things are not exist. Thus, the conventional truths are posited through the force of afflictive ignorance, which is included within the factor of secular existence. So this is, we cannot really, I read the Tibetan book and English book. I really cannot see the very, kind of clear definition of the conventional truth. Conventional truth. Thus, look at conventional truths are posited through what? Thus, the force of the. Right, this means conventional truths are posited. Afflictive ignorance. That means we have a conventional truth, we have a ultimate truth. The conventional truth posited by afflictive ignorance. This means how do you feel? Conventional phenomena are posited by ignorance. That means how do you feel? Right? So this one we learn, after a few classes, there's a very clear, look at, conventional, then truth, right? Conventional and truth. Ultimate and truth. You must break the two words into conventional and truth. For example, this table is truth for us. Truth for us. Is truth for us because we have a ignorance. Due to ignorance, for us everything, all the conventional thing is a truth. Because we don't realize the real nature. All the conventional phenomena are not truth for the arahat. Because they don't have the ignorance. The ignorance. That means conventional phenomena are truth for the us. Those are not truth for the arahat. Emptiness are the truth for the arahat, not truth for us. Because we don't have the mind. which is we are able to establish emptiness as a truth. Right? Therefore, you always break conventional, truth and conventional, truth and ultimate. Thus, because he explained that is the first of the 12 factors of the dependent arising. It is an affliction and not a cognitive operation. What are the cognitive operation? This will be explained in below. Until now, we explain ignorance, object of ignorance, how to stop ignorance, how to prove object of ignorance no exist, and also is explain which is the root of the sacred existence. Now, according to Pasangika, ignorance is the not cognitive cognitive operation, is the afflict operation. Why? Because ignorance is the first among the 12 factors. It is the first of the 12 factors of the dependent arising. It is an affliction, not a cognitive operation. Then the question here, what are the cognitive operation? This will explain below. Right? So therefore, why according to the Pasangika, why ignorance is the afflictive operation, not the cognitive? Why other master in other school accept ignorance is the cognitive operation, not the afflictive? Why? Yeah, same. Other also, ignorance is the first among the 12. Right? The first ignorance, second is karma, third is kanji, is the number order is same. So we need to distinguish ignorance. When we say ignorance, there can be two types. One is very gross, one is very subtle. Right? Then the other master, they able to recognize the gross level of ignorance, not the subtle level of ignorance. Now, therefore, he explained that the ignorance, which is the first of the 12 factors, is the root of sacred existence. And within that, he also explains that the view of perishing aggregates is the root of sacred existence. Since ignorance is the general category and the view of perishing aggregates is the intense, there's no contradictions. Because somebody asked a question, right? Which is the root of the sacred existence? Ignorance or perishing aggregates? Because there cannot be two primary there cannot be two primary cause of sacred existence. The answer here, look at, yes, ignorance is the root, also view of the perishing aggregates also the root of sacred existence. Ignorance is the general, then view of perishing aggregates is a instant. Therefore, there's no contradiction. Right? So what is the root of the sacred existence? Ignorance. Also you can say view of perishing aggregates. Now how come there's a two primary cause of sacred existence? There's not two, just one, which is ignorance. Ignorance, right? Is ignorance. That means view of perishing aggregates also part of ignorance. Ignorance is the opposite of the knowledge. This sentence is, this paragraph is very important. What is ignorance? Ignorance is the opposite of knowledge. Clear? Ignorance is the opposite of the knowledge. And this does not refer to just any knowledge. Ignorance is the opposite of knowledge. Knowledge is not referring to any knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Reality. Okay, now you can say ignorance is the opposite of the wisdom that knows the reality. What kind of reality it is? It is selflessness. Right? That means ignorance is the opposite of the wisdom that knows the selflessness. Right? Selflessness of the person, selflessness of the phenomena. Okay, again, what's the ignorance? No. You can make a conclusion here. Ignorance is the opposite of the wisdom that knows the selflessness. Okay, selflessness. Again, what is the ignorance?
What is ignorance?
Yeah.
Is the belief in the intrinsic
No. Here, according to ignorance is. Yeah, ignorance is the opposite of the knowledge, just one knowledge that knows the reality, that knows the selflessness. Simple, you can say, ignorance is the opposite of the wisdom that knows the selflessness. What does mean opposite? Here, the opposite of that cannot simply be the non-existence of the wisdom. Opposite, meaning opposite, right? The opposite of that cannot simply be the non-existence of the wisdom. Number one. Number two, nor simply be something other than the wisdom. Make sure opposite meaning, it cannot simply be the non-existence of the wisdom, nor can it simply be something other than the wisdom. Therefore, it is conception that is the wisdom's contradictory equivalent. That means, opposite of the knowledge is ignorance or conception. So what kind of conception it is? This is the superimposition of the self. There are two types. What are they? Of an objective self and the superimposition of the personal self. Thus both conception of the personal self and the concept of the objective self are the ignorance. Therefore, when he indicates that the view of perishing arrogance is the root of the all other affliction, this does not mean that the ignorance is not the root. So this paragraph is really, explains so many things. What kind of knowledge? What the object of the knowledge? What's the ignorance? What's the object of the ignorance? How many types of ignorance? How the ignorance impose the extra quality of the person, of the phenomena. That means two kinds of ignorance. Okay, today we can stop here. Any question before we do the dedication prayer? Any question? No question?
inaccurate awareness, is it the same thing as wrong view?
Okay. Awareness has many types of awareness. When you aware when you aware things are exist as an inherent existence, then the awareness is a wrong view. For example, I can be the wrong kind of I consciousness, correct consciousness. When you perceive snow mountain as a yellow, that I consciousness is the mistaken, is a wrong view. Awareness, when the aware things are exist inherently, then the awareness has a wrong view. The awareness aware things are exist, independently, the awareness become correct view.
Inaccurate.
Yeah, inaccurate view are the wrong view. Yes.
Same meaning, right?
Yeah, same meaning. Again, make sure, because inaccurate not necessarily to be inaccurate awareness, not necessarily to be ignorance. For example, when you look at the thing, when you perceive thing as a permanent, this kind of awareness also inaccurate, not ignorance. Inaccurate into reality is ignorance. Accurate into reality is the wisdom. We have to say in the reality. Yes, any question? Mm-hmm.
This superimposition,
Mm-hmm.
two types, objective self
Mm-hmm.
as well as the personal self.
Yeah.
Okay, objective self is it from viewing the object?
I think objective we call is a same meaning as a phenomena and the personal what called objective impose and personal superimpose, because person and personal, subject and subjective. So I think the English word, different way to we didn't call kanza ki dak kanza demba to ba mean personally exists as a intrinsic existence, phenomena exists as a intrinsic phenomena. That means person, adjective and object is I think similar meaning.
Personal is subjective.
No. Objective. Objective self is a
Personal self.
yeah.
So of
Viewing person.
nature.
No. Person viewing as a intrinsic nature is a personal self. Phenomena viewing phenomena as a intrinsic existence. This is a objective self. Yeah, phenomena. Objective phenomena, personal as a person. No. First we say person not refer to the human being, right? Person is a all kind of living being, include Buddha. So when we perceived person as a intrinsic existence, the person intrinsic existence is the personal, or you call personal self. Personal self. The phenomena exists inherently. This is the objective self. This means object exists as a inherently, person exists as a inherently. They we call personal self and objective self.